Well, welcome back, nerdy neighbors. Welcome back to the nerdy neighborhood, and welcome back to your friendly neighborhood comic show. I'm your host, Lauren, your friendly neighborhood bi, and I am back here today with our neighbor, Tony James, who, if you guys are like, this guy looks familiar, he is, because he actually, they got Star Noir on Kickstarter, successfully funded, which is amazing. But now, due to high demand, he has brought it back on INDIEGOGO. Welcome back, Tony.
Hi, thanks for having me again.
Good yeah, absolutely. No, and you know, as I mentioned to you before, I'm super excited for you. You know, having so much demand that you have to, and of course, want to make another, create another way so people can still get this book as soon as possible. That's amazing. How did you kind of get to the conclusion of crud? I need to do something else to give people this book.
Well, I mean, since the Kickstarter wrapped in October, people have been messaging me through all my socials that they missed the Kickstarter and they wanted to figure out how to get the book. And then just thinking about, you know, the production timeline of book one, it just seemed like by the time we rolled out the second Kickstarter, they probably wouldn't read the first book until next year. So the INDIEGOGO kind of seemed like a good way to include them in the initial fulfillment, so they get to read the book this year instead of having to wait like a whole year.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I know based on your Kickstarter updates and such, you guys are still in the process of creating it, which is great. But you guys have gone far enough that now it looks like on the INDIEGOGO, people can read the first 9 pages like in order for free to really get a feel for the book and where the story kind of starts off.
Yeah, which is like a huge relief, because when we were doing the Kickstarter, I had to choose like the 4 most grabby pages that kind of explain a whole 42-page book, and then kind of just tell you what the story is and just hope that that was enough. But now when you actually go to the INDIEGOGO, it's right there at the top of the page. You could just start reading it, and then hopefully it's a vibe. Hopefully it vibes with you, and then I also still give you the full breakdown of the synopsis under the pages. So I still cover all my bases.
Yeah, which I love. I really like organized campaigns. And I feel like that's kind of hard on some creators, because starting a Kickstarter, starting an INDIEGOGO, it's a ton of work, but all the work really pays off, as you know, you've probably already seen with the Kickstarter getting funded, and I'm sure this will get funded. People will get their extra books. It really makes a difference having every piece there, just so everybody can really make the best decision for them and really get hooked, like you said, because that is the fun of comics. We talk about, oh man, I got hooked, I've just spent money, but it's so fun for us as fans.
Right, yeah, and I'm hoping that the you know, we've worked so hard on the story and putting it together. I'm just hoping that the story kind of really, and the art really speaks for itself, and that if you're not hooked in these first 9 pages, I think we're doing something wrong. But I think these are pretty incredible pages.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, this looks like, and I don't say this lightly, but this looks like, you know, this was published by one of the bigger indie publishers. This doesn't look self-published in any way, shape, or form. You and the entire team do such a great job. This looks completely natural. Like, I have no comments as like a general audience reader, like, oh, this could have been better, the lettering, or these colors might have been, like, this is magnificent.
I think part of the reason why the pages they work so good, I mean, firstly, the art team is incredibly talented. And I think what also works is that we are just such a cohesion of ideas. We always bounce ideas off of each other. I have the script and I say, oh, this is what I'm looking for. And they say, well, what if we try it like this? And they show me, and I'm like, oh, that looks incredible. And then I give them some feedback and they make their own little tweaks, but still in their own way. And then we end up with these pretty incredible pages that I think that we're all really proud to have to look at.
Yeah, I really like this one because I need to scroll up on it. So, you know, it kind of starts off in the background here. Looks really creepy, but you got those like red eyes, and you can kind of see the outline here, but otherwise you kind of have to look to see it. So I don't know. This to me gives me like old Batman vibes without the actual Batman part, which I love in its own right. And then you've got these horror vibes. Like, this kind of looks like a Swamp Thing page. Even though, again, this is, you know, 1940s LA, like, and then you automatically go to like, you know, a little more of the sci-fi stuff with the aliens. I mean, the detail, oh my gosh, your team is just blowing me out of the water here. Like, I don't have words to describe how good this is.
Yeah, if you go to the page, I've tagged all of the team's Instagrams, so you can definitely go check them out. Pablo is the artist; he's from Argentina. You have Vin, who's from Brazil; he's the colorist, and then you have the letterer Marco; he's from Italy. They're all the links right there. Yeah, so they're a great bunch of guys. It's amazing how quick their turnaround is, considering that they also work on other books. I mean, Marco, the letterer, he just did his own book for Scout Comics. I think it's called Volcania or something like that.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's got his own stuff, and then he also does a bunch of like more kid friendly stuff. Back in Italy, all his comics are in Italian, obviously. But yeah, and then Vin, he does stuff for like IDW, and he works so much that when he was like, oh, I have to take a month off, and it's like, well, that makes sense because you work pretty hard 11 months out of the year, not just on Star Noir, but other books as well. So yeah,
that makes a ton of sense. I feel like especially with like creative jobs or careers pursuits like comics are, like that's so much of one's life is working your butt off. And so then people are like, wow, you take a whole month off? It's like, yeah, because the rest of the time I'm doing stuff on the weekends. I'm doing stuff through the holidays. Like you don't get much time off because that's what it seems like it takes to get into this art form.
Yeah. So I'll tell everybody the synopsis again, since it's been, if you haven't heard. So it's obviously set in the 1940s, and it's about this homicide detective, Alan Miller. And he teams up with this gray alien named Ellis Tate as they try to find a shapeshifter who is killing LAPD officers in Central Station. So it's very LA Noire meets the X-Files.
Yes.
And it is a very grounded depiction of aliens. Every encounter that these characters have with extraterrestrials has a horror element to it. It is very scary and unsettling.
Yeah, and honestly, I appreciate that, because while I love all these different like shows and books and comics and things like that where it's like aliens are nice and friendly, it's like like probably not in reality. Like that would be really nice. So I think it's cool to have this like grittier version of it, especially in the 40s, like the 40s time period. I'm not sure if I asked this last time, but what kind of made you pick the 40s time period over literally any other time period to throw aliens into?
I think it was this because the era was very all about that McCarthyism, just constantly looking over your shoulder and you don't know who's who. And I thought that the shapeshifter kind of element, looking like your fellow detectives and not knowing who's the alien, I think that kind of played kind of the same tone. And then also when we were trying to design the aliens, and Pablo did the gray alien, I was like, oh, that's very iconic for that time period, because it was right around the time of the Roswell crash, and so everybody was obsessed with the gray alien. So
that makes a ton of sense. It'd be weird to do a story like this in another period, because kind of like I was just mentioning, like I feel like in different time periods, because of what's happening, people have different reactions to aliens. Like if aliens invaded the Earth right now, like Gen Z would probably be like, cool, make a TikTok with me. Like, even us millennials might even be like that. Who knows? Or we'd be like, just blow up the world. We're tired of it. Like, we're exhausted.
Well, I don't know if millennials would be on board, because we grew up with Independence Day and we saw what happened to people being friendly with aliens. We got blown up.
That's a good point. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. I appreciate the reminder. See, I almost got sucked into their trap. They almost got me. Well, with this universe, with Star Noir, if you could merge it with any other like fictional universe you can think of, which one would you choose?
Good question. I would think I would try to merge it with like Gotham City. My artist and I, we were talking about once we're wrapped up. I'm a huge Batman fan, so I wanted him to draw a 1940s noir Batman. Like if you took Batman and you had to dress him up like a noir detective, like what would that look like? In the same way that they did the Gotham by Gaslight, and they made him look like a Victorian era Batman. So I think the way the the world is so very matter of fact and it's very gritty, and in this world, these characters, they die, they're dead. They're not fake outs. This is actually what happens to them. I think the most natural merger would have to be Gotham City.
That makes a ton of sense, and I love that because I already got like the Batman vibes earlier from those 2 pages. So, yeah, I think like that would be a very natural, especially with like the Batman Year One book. That would probably be a fairly seamless transition into it. You might know this since you're probably a bigger Batman fan than I am. Have we ever seen Batman with aliens before and like how he's dealt with them? Like outside the Justice League, like on his own, maybe?
It's like, if you consider the Justice League, but I don't know if I don't know if he's ever dealt with aliens. They've always been, from Krypton or wherever Green Lantern came from. No, I don't think he should though. I'll start writing that right now.
I was gonna say that'd be really interesting to see more. Like what would Batman do with aliens like this, where it's not like more humanized aliens? I guess it's just like straight up, completely alien, doesn't follow human rules, does what it wants. May not be as friendly as he like what would Batman have against them? Like his money and weapons, depending on their technology, are nothing at that point.
It might be a little similar to how he looks at Clark Kent, where he's just like, all right, well, you act nice, but are you? I might need a plan just in case you turn evil.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's like a controversial topic, like because Bruce and Clark have a good friendship to some people, and others, really mention stuff like you do, where it's like, yeah, they're nice at times, but Batman's ready to kill him any second. Like, he's like, I don't care if you're my friend, I will end your soul.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bruce Wayne has that line in The Dark Knight Returns, deep down, Clark is a good person, and deep down, I'm not. And I think that's just kind of the dichotomy of those 2 characters, where it's like, where Batman is always trying to think 3 steps ahead. He's just like, well, what if you become compromised? I need a plan for that. Yeah,
no, absolutely. Would you say that our main character in here, that he kind of is he like that? Like, does he have that mindset of like, I'm not the best person, or do we see more optimism from him in the story?
Well, a lot of detectives of this era were not nice, not nice men. So Alan, our detectives that you see here, he's a guy he's been doing this homicide detective stuff for quite a while. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty to get information out of a suspect. What's actually funny about his relationship with Ellis is that Ellis is he's very benevolent. He's the complete opposite. So he's always asking Alan, is there a better way to do this other than beating this guy up? Like, he doesn't. And Ellis also doesn't like to use a gun, which you can imagine would get him into some trouble. And it's funny, the situations that get him out of that.
Yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. And I love that. Like, it already seems like we talked about Bruce and Clark's, dichotomy in their friendship, but already it seems like that sort of could have inspired a little bit of this.
Yeah.
Which is really fun to see. And I think people really like that dynamic. Not only because, opposites attract, but it's just a fun one. Like, I'm trying to think. There's a lot of characters that have friendships like that, I feel like, where it's like, you've got the one really, really nice one, the one that's trying to do the right thing. You got your own one that's like grumpy all the time and grouchy and is like, fine, I guess. Or like, nope, I'm doing it my way. Get over it.
Well, but the extra thing that Ellis has, being an alien, is that he's just not familiar with customs and stuff. So he's trying to be a nice person and also not understanding why people are reacting to him so aggressively.
Yeah, like that's always fun.
Yeah, there's a funny moment in the second book where he tries to pet a dog, and the dog can see through his illusion. I didn't mention this, but everybody else except for Alan can see a human, and it's just a basic mental projection that the alien is passing over everybody. And for story reasons, there's a good reason why Alan can see Ellis's alien form and others cannot.
Oh, interesting. I was gonna say, like, is it an image inducer or something? Because I know back with the X-Men back in the day, Kurt used one of those Nightcrawler until Wolverine's like, "Stop it! No, look like your blue self."
It's closer to telepathy. I'm just trying to show you something that you would expect to see.
Right.
So yeah, that's what it is. And unfortunately, it doesn't change his size. So he is a short detective, and he knows
Aw.
he's like, that's the only thing I can't change is how tall I am.
Dang, I was gonna say he probably gets, bullied, for lack of a better word, quite a bit by all the other detectives quite often.
Yeah. It is a funny the way these two characters interact. How you have one that's very very gruff and very rough around the edges, and another one who's just very nice and just trying to understand like what's the best way to do this. And they do hit a point where they start to work off of each other. And Alan does try some of the methods that Ellis has, and it's really it's nice building to those moments.
Yeah. And that's one thing I really love is having characters we can invest in, because having this great world and even the great art, the great dialogue and all this stuff, the great lettering is amazing, but having just characters, I feel like at the end of the day, for me at least, characters are what keep me invested in a story more than anything else. And I love what you've done so far of everything I've seen, of course. But I love what you've done with these characters. And I'm really excited to see what happens with this book one, knowing there's a book two that's gonna be on the way after this one.
Yeah, actually, we're just gonna we're gonna transition right to the next book. Like, we're not gonna finish the book and then just take a break for a bit. We're just gonna go right to book two, because I have everything written. There are 6 books in total. So yeah, I'm very excited for book two, because we get to meet a very popular lounge singer who is an alien. And
I love that.
Yeah, and there's the really really gripping scene where Alan meets her and she changes her form, and it's pretty horrifying, but like it's in like the best way.
I love that. Like, that's like Dear Roger Rabbit kind of vibes. I think anybody watching this, you guys need to drop your theories of who this is below, because now I'm trying to guess who it could be. I wanted the answer till I see the book, but like and it's from the 40s, obviously, at least around that time. So okay, I'm gonna get back to you with theories, Tony. I'll get back to you. Well, we talked about how this is going on Indiegogo because there's been such demand for it, which is great, and you want to get to people as soon as possible without waiting another year or two for another Kickstarter. So this is going 45 days, right? And April 1st is the last day.
Yeah, April 1st is the last day.
Okay,
yeah.
And that is not an April Fool's, guys. That's literally the last day. So you need to get on it before then.
and then, unfortunately, anybody else, you will have to wait.
Yep.
But if you jump in now, you'll be part of the initial fulfillment with all the other Kickstarter backers. So you all get to read the book this year.
2023 is the year, guys. 2023. It's when I'll get my copy too. I'm waiting with all of you guys. I feel like sometimes people are like, man, the interviews and stuff never have to wait. We have to wait too, guys.
Yeah.
All the time. And it's always worth it though. So yeah, guys, the link to the Indiegogo will be below. Obviously, it's been there. Feel free to click it. Click a couple times, get your copy if you missed the Kickstarter, or just buy more copies to send to random people, just have it delivered. I'm sure they'll love it. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the more the merrier, honestly.
Right. Honestly, if I had more money to do that, I would do that. Just like, here you go. Here's a book. I don't know if you'll like it. Hopefully it's age appropriate. Hopefully like a 5-year-old doesn't read this one, but
I don't know if a 5-year-old can read this one. There's some graphic things in here.
I know it might be a little bit of a struggle, so I'll put a good like parental advisory on the box or something.
Yeah, that'd be recommended. Yeah, for sure.
And yeah, you guys have the first 9 pages, as Tony mentioned earlier, that you can read on here. You can basically audit it to make sure, hey, I want to read that 10th page. But you don't get the 10th page until you order it and you get it. So keep that in mind, guys. Yeah. Anything else about Star Noir you wanted to share today, Tony?
Definitely pick it up. It's awesome. We are working our butts off on it. We have big plans for Star Noir, so it really is important to us that you guys enjoy it. You have a good time reading it. That's why it looks as good as it does, because it's just a top to bottom passion project. We want you to be as gripped as you possibly can, so that when you finish the book, you almost just come out of this like story coma of like, wow, where was I for 42 pages? Like that's how
Right.
hooked we want you to be into this story.
Those comas are the best. Like whether it's like finishing a TV show or finishing a really great comic, a book, whatever, that's the best. And then coming out of that's the hard part. Like I'd rather stay in that feeling personally.
Right, when you like save those episodes just because like, oh, there's that next season is going to be a while away. I better pace myself.
100%. And I did want to mention, I forgot to ask, of course, one thing that I think you mentioned to me before was that it's the same prices as the Kickstarter on here, so it's not upped or anything, which is really, really kind of you. And you've still got some really great rewards here, like the postcards, and you've got some baseball cards, and like even this like giant poster, which looks phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a nice vintage version of the cover. I really liked what Vin, our colorist, he already in this book has created a style. It's like this brushstroke style that kind of makes everything feel very vintage. And he took the cover one step further and kind of created this like this almost like dirt around the edges, so it looks weathered. Like it's when you get the poster, it's pristine and nice, but like it just gives the impression that you could almost fold it up.
Yeah, I love it. I think really embracing the time period as much as you can and any like extra things you do. I think that just makes it 10 times more fun. Like if you ever do a 20s book, let me know, because I'm very fascinated with the 1920s. I know they're problematic still, but I'm very fascinated by them.
It was the great time before the Depression.
Pretty much. Sometimes I wonder if we're in that time right now. Like, do we have one coming for us? Who knows?
Well, we'll see.
I was gonna say, hopefully we have Alan and Ellis to call. You know, maybe time travel will happen at some point. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, Alan gets into a spaceship and they zip him to our time. What are these magic phones that you guys are holding?
See, there you go. Who needs Back to the Future when we can have Star Noir coming to save us? Like, it's all good.
Yeah. But yeah, this is these 6 books. They're a very gripping murder mystery. You have detectives who are getting picked off like left and right as Alan and Ellis are trying to drill down and figure out which one is the shapeshifter, who's not really from here. Is basically it.
It's just another X-Men mystery of where is Mystique? Which one is Mystique? For God's sakes, Mystique, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah, and if you like any of the classic Hollywood era movies, those Philip Marlowe movies, even the way the characters talk is of that era. When I wrote the script, I just watched and consumed so many noir stories, and really took down a lot of the common phrases and worked them into the dialogue of this, so it really felt of the time.
Yeah, that's amazing, and that's hard to do sometimes. So it's great that you took so much time to get right. I think it shows very well because, you know, anybody can like watch 1 or 2 films and think they know, you know, the dialogue and the speech of the time and a noir especially. But, you know, you can tell when it's too stereotypical and when it's just the right amount of stereotypical that it works.
Yeah. Yep. And you just learn, you learn funny words like jammer is an Irish slang for a car. I had no idea what that was. But yeah, those are the kind of phrases you find in this book.
I was gonna say jammer makes me think of like a jam or like a radio or something.
Yeah, it's a car. It's a 1940s version of a car.
Gotta get in the jammer, boys. I'll see you later. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
Yep.
But it works for the time, and that is all that matters. So yeah, guys, be sure to go click like 5 times and get this book if you haven't already. I don't know why you wouldn't. Star Noir Book 1 is out now. Well, it will be out, but it's on Indiegogo now, so that counts. Yeah, Tony, you want to plug yourself away? Drop any other facts you want before we get out of here today?
Let's see. Well, you can find me on the Twitters. It's T/J at T/J. I'm also on the Instagrams at BananaBat. You should definitely check out Star Noir.
I love that transition.
Circle back. It's a great noir murder mystery. Don't miss out on it. It's a great book.
Yes, check out Star Noir because as you can tell, we have a huge DC fan over here, heavily inspired by Batman, heavily inspired by noir stuff. So obviously you know that this is going to be phenomenal because if he was inspired by Marvel, it wouldn't be. No, I'm kidding.
No, but especially if you're a fan of like the noir side of Batman, you're definitely gonna like Star Noir. Like it definitely has the similar vibe to it. I was reading this book by Alan Moore, and he talked about the way he designs, cities, and he's always like, you have to kind of figure out what the vibe of the city, like what does Gotham feel like? It's not just decrepit buildings. It's standing in the rain waiting for a cab that should have been here 5 minutes ago, as some creepy guy in the shadows is starting to walk towards you, like, and that's the tone that he kind of creates for Gotham City. So it's I really do something similar with this 1940s Los Angeles, where there are places where they're very beautiful to look at and very populated, but very quickly you could turn the corner and be in a dark street by yourself.
Yeah. No, you do such a great job. I mean, the pages we showed earlier alone, like, they creep the heck out of me in the best way possible. So they are all so well done. As he said, guys, Tony James here. Be sure to check out Star Noir, Indiegogo, and follow him on Twitter and stuff. I'll put those links below. So if you want to hear more DC rants, clearly he wants to talk DC. Talk to him about it. We need to talk about DC more. And again, check out Star Noir. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to the channel here. All that cheesy but super important stuff. It helps us grow and helps support more indie creators like Tony here. And yeah, we'll see you guys next time in the nerdy neighborhood.